Hi, welcome to multilinguals.com, Haitian Creole. Today we will discuss how to speak about possession. I'm sure that you have already been confused when listening to Haitian Creole because sometimes we will hear one way to describe possession, then we will hear another one, and then even a third one. So sometimes it might be hard to tell the difference on why they use one way or the other. So this video will help you identify in which cases we're going to use one way or another one. So when they ask you "Pour qui est ça y est?", that means whose is that or who is that for, who that thing belongs to. Pour qui est ça y est? Pour meaning for, qui est meaning who or whom, ça meaning this or that, and yeah meaning is. Right? So let's see the first and easiest way to speak about possession. So the first way is to say nom plus sujet. That means the noun plus the subject. So for example, here in the picture we have Gerlin, and then we have the shoes that belong to her. So shoes in Haitian Creole is soulier. So the first way to say those are Gerlin's shoes is to say ça c'est soulier Gerlin. As we see here in the phrase, we have first the noun, or in Haitian Creole, that would be nom, soulier, that's the noun, the thing that belongs to Berlin. And then we have the subject, sujet. In this case, the subject is Gerlin. The shoes belong to her. Ça c'est soulier Gerlin. So this is by far the easiest way to speak about possession, okay? So if I wanted to say that is Gerlin's telephone, how would you say that? That is Gerlin's telephone. That would be ça c'est téléphone Gerlin. Ça c'est téléphone Gerlin. If I wanted to say that's Gerlin's mom, how would I say that? Ça c'est Mama Gerlin. Ça c'est Mama Gerlin. So this is the first way and it's very easy. Let's go see the second now. The second way to speak about possession is to use a noun and then a pronoun. So in Haitian Creole, that would be nom et puis pronom. So for example, this little girl is referring to the laptop that the other girl has. So she would say, ordinateur li nouveau, li gris. Her laptop is new. It is gray. So to say her laptop, we're going to use the thing and then we're going to use a pronoun. So the thing, in this case a laptop, is ordinateur. That goes in the first place. And then we use the pronoun li. Ordinateur li. Ordinateur li means her laptop. So it is the other way around in English. So in English, we use the pronoun and then we use the noun. In Creole, is the other way around. Ordinateur li nouveau, li gris. So how would you say her father, for example? How would you say her father following this pattern? That would be papa li. Papa li. How would you say her brother? That would be frère li. Frère li. In many cases, we're not going to use the whole pronoun. So I could say the short version of the li pronoun. So I would say ordinatel, mamal, papal. That's the more normal way that we are going to use when speaking. So let's see now the third way to speak about possession. So here the pattern will be the noun plus the pronoun plus the article. That means that we're going to speak about the thing then the person who that thing belongs to, and then the article the, right? Which goes at the end in Haitian Creole. So the thing was a laptop, a computer. So we would say ordinateur. That's the first thing we're gonna use. The second thing is the pronoun. So it was her. So the pronoun for he, she, for her is li. Ordinateur li. And then, and this is what makes it different from the last one, we're going to use the article. So the article after she is a. Ordinateur li a nouveau, li gris. Her laptop is new, it's gray. So this is a very simple way, all right? So how would you say, for example, her mom? That would be Maman Lia, Maman Lia. How would you say her telephone? Téléphone Lia, téléphone Lia. So why do we have this pattern and the previous one since they are so similar? So the only difference that we see here is the article. Why do we do this? Why do we have two ways that are so similar? To understand this, let's give an example. So, for example, here I'm going to say that this is Reginald's wife. So that would be Ça c'est Madame Reginald. Ça c'est Madame Reginald is the first pattern that we saw how to speak about possession. Ça c'est Madame Reginald. I can also say that's his wife. So I can say Ça c'est Madame Lee. Ça c'est Madame Lee. And this would be the second pattern. But the third pattern would be Madame Lia. Madame Lia, his wife. His wife. So what's the difference? We use this to speak about a different context. So, for example, imagine that I already introduced you to Madame Reginald, and I have a room full of different wives. So, I want to single out Reginald's wife among all of the other wives. So, imagine that I was already speaking about everybody else's wives, and now I have to single out Reginald's wife, the wife that belongs to Reginald alone. So in that case, I'm going to single her out by using the article. So I'm going to say, Madame Lia, Madame Lia. So out of all of the group of wives, Madame Lia, his wife, and then I can say something else. So that would be the third pattern. So when we use the third pattern, we're going to need to know this chart, right? So, for example, this chart shows you how to use the article according to the pronoun and according to the thing. So, if the thing is singular or plural, and that is going to change according to the person. So, if I wanted to say that something is my something, I would say moyen if it's one thing. For example, my telephone. Telephone moyen. If I wanted to say that those are my telephones, as in plural, like in two telephones, I would say moi yo. Ça c'est téléphone moi yo. If the telephone or telephones belong to you, I would say téléphone wa, téléphone yo. If it was to her that the telephones belong, I would say téléphone lia, only one telephone, téléphone lio, two telephones. If it were our telephone or telephones, I would say telefonua, telefonuyo. And if the telephone or telephones belong to them, I would say telefonyoa and just telefonyo. I would not say telefonyo, right? So it's just telefonyo, the telephones that belong to them. So the most important thing that you have to remember between pattern number 2 and pattern number 3 is that we often mistake them. So we usually use this form in every case, and we're not to do that. We're not supposed to do that, okay? So we're going to use this one when we want to single something out. So the telephones that belong to us, different from all of the other telephones that we have already spoken about, okay? When we want to single somebody out from the rest of people, or when we want to single something out from the rest of things, then we're going to use this pattern, pattern number 3.